holding back a whimper, I bowed my head low as one of Elijah's new friends stomped on my hand, and multiple bones cracked. Pain shot up through my arm. Tears swelled in my eyes and escaped, while the 4 boys surrounding me laughed. "What's wrong, Runt?" the one on my hand mocked, digging his shoe deeper into my hand, which made me cry out. "Does it hurt?" They laughed again. After a moment, he removed his foot, but I didn't dare move an inch as I took in deep breaths. A pair of familiar, fancy shoes entered my blurry view. It was Elijah. I lowered my head more. My body shook as I waited for what's to come next. One foot lifted up, and then my head slammed against the ground. A small cracking sound came from my nose and blood rushed out. I ignored the throbbing pain, my small fangs digging into my lip to hold back the whimpers. If I keep quiet, they'll get bored and go away. "You're embarrassing me to my new friends." Feeling him glaring at me, I shuddered, my trembling getting worse. "You should apologize, you dumb whore. Now, I'm sorry." The foot pinning my head was removed. "Please forgive me." The fancy shoe was now inches away from my face. Out of instinct, I reached over and kissed it. "Forgive me, please, young master." The words just slip out automatically at this point, and they snickered at it. My voice became weak, ignoring the taste of blood as it trailed down my chin and dripped onto the floor. "Good girl," I cried out when a kick was delivered to the side of my head, tossing me to my side. "Make sure it doesn't happen again, Runt." A small whine left me when one of the other males purposely stepped onto my already broken hand when they walked away. Using my good hand, I sat myself up, grabbing the brush that slid across the floor, and put it into the empty bucket that had fell. Dirty water was now everywhere, and if I don't clean this up soon, Alpha would be very furious and will punish me for not doing a good job. The stinging and burning old whip marks on my back reminded me on what would happen if I don't get this cleaned up before he sees it. I can't handle another punishment right now. Stumbling up with my head down, I quickly headed to the closest bathroom, shrugging off the angry aching from my bruised hand that was already becoming swollen. Grabbing a rag, I returned back to the mess I created. Going on my knees, I used one hand to clean up the dirty water, and drops of blood with the other held against my chest, then squeezed the water back into the bucket, rubbing my tired eyes. I headed downstairs to the empty kitchen and began cooking dinner for Alpha, his family, and their guests. It was hard with one hand, but manageable. It just took slightly longer than normal. I cooked steak with mashed potatoes and baked asparagus. I triple-checked the food before serving it with wine for a beverage. By the time the table was set and the food was out, I heard a group of footsteps making their way towards the dining room. Their chatting became louder and louder, at every step, quickly doing the final touches so everything was perfect. I darted out of the room using the side door. I can't be seen while Alpha and his guests are eating. I'll disturb their meal with my disgusting presence. That'll lead to a punishment. Alpha, Luna, Elijah, and their guests entered the dining room just as the door closed behind me. I took my place beside the door out of sight, standing there, head down, waiting. Their conversation was much more clearer to hear, but dare not to listen in on what they were speaking about. The sound of scraping forks against plates was more than enough for me to listen to for the night. Keeping my eyes open was hard. I didn't get any sleep for the past 2 days, getting the pack house ready for Alpha's guests. Cleaning every room in this 3-story building was tough enough. It took much longer than I hoped for, since members of the pack kept on making messes for me to clean. Not that I mind. It's my purpose to take care of the pack in every little way. Runt. My eyes flew open and I swiftly re-entered the dining room. At Alpha's side, I bowed my head low. No one even looking at me when I entered. Yes, Alpha. My head snapped to the side when he backhanded me, a growl leaving his throat. Don't. Yes, Alpha. Me. Runt. Give us some more wine. I nodded my head. Yes. Alpha. Leaving the room, I quickly returned with an open bottle of wine in hand. Doing my best to not spill a single drop, I refilled everyone's glasses as they went back to their conversation. Ignoring me, just as I got to Elijah, I saw him smirk at me. My eyes widened in fear. Before I could move out of the way, he grabbed my raggedy shirt and pulled me towards him, the wine spilling on his crotch. Hey, what the fuck, you useless bitch? He slammed his fist on the table and pushed himself back out of his chair. The room became quiet, and all eyes were now on us. Taken over by fear, I bowed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, young master. What is the meaning of this? The wine bottle in my hand shook on how hard I was shaking. Today just isn't my day. Dad, this useless, disgusting mutt purposely spilled wine on me. Elijah pointed at me. Is that true? My eyes closed shut. I didn't say a word. Didn't matter what I say. He'll believe his precious son over the worthless runt that is weakening his pack. Besides, Elijah grabbed me from underneath the table so no one could see what he did. Not like that matter either. Hearing the chair scrap across the floor, loud footsteps made their way over to me, and a large hand roughly grabbed my hair and pulled my head up. I cried out. My grip tightened on the bottle. If it fell now, my punishment will be much worse. Alpha is already angry at me. Don't make it worse. Look at me. Opening my eyes, I kept them to the ground. I don't have the right to look at Alpha in the eyes. I don't have the right to look anyone in the eyes. I'm beneath them. You embarrass my son in front of guests. Your punishment will be so much worse tonight. It's my fault. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I have to deal with this nuisance. I should have done better. Tears streamed down my face. In the corner of my eye, I saw Elijah's huge victory grin, his blue eyes staring into my beaten soul as Alpha began dragging me out of the room by my hair.